Item: SCP-1522. Code name: Ships that pass in the night. Object class: neutralized. Special containment procedures: SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were tracked and monitored by MTF-Pi-2 aka Baldur's Pyre. MTF-Pi-2 vehicles consisted of 2 Hamilton-class cutters and 1 national security cutter, SCP-S-, with associated aircraft. Civilian maritime traffic was directed away from the expected course of SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2. When this was not possible, MTF-Pi-2 ships were to fire flares in order to attract and lead SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 into isolated ocean areas. Description: SCP-1522 refers to 2 fishing trawlers, SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2, each 39 meters in length. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were capable of speeds surpassing that of their specifications. Prior to Incident 1522 Rho, their highest observed speed was 120 knots. Controls on SCP-1522-1's and SCP-1522-2's bridges were capable of autonomous movement, but were removable by Foundation personnel. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were assumed to be sapient, and usually responded to SCP's vessel signals to change course. Records indicate SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were manufactured simultaneously in 1991 at the Parkle Marine Shipyard in Whitby, United Kingdom. After construction, SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were kept in Whitby Harbor for several months due to financial complications, before being sold to separate buyers. They served with their respective companies for 3 years, before being decommissioned as a result of recurrent mechanical issues. No anomalous effects were present during this time. It is unclear whether SCP-1522-1 or SCP-1522-2 actually underwent a decommissioning process. In May 1997, SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were detected, in a refurbished and repainted condition, off the southern coast of Alaska. Foundation VBSS operations found no crew aboard either ship. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were tracking a gray whale mother and calf. Using modified active sonar payings to mimic Cetacean calls, SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 spent the majority of their time finding and engaging in play-like activity with various whale species. The hulls of SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 regularly came into contact for prolonged periods while observing the animals. During a 7-month period spent in the Arctic, presumably searching for the bowhead whale, SCP-1522-2 collided with an iceberg. Part of the iceberg penetrated SCP-1522-2's outer hull and it was unable to free itself. SCP-1522-1 spent several weeks towing SCP-1522-2 and the iceberg into warmer waters until the iceberg had melted. SCP-1522-2 remained afloat, but was not subsequently observed moving faster than 10 knots. Addendum 1522-1. Event log of incident 1522 Row, taking place 60 km northwest of Ullapool, Scotland in mid-2011. Forward. The following log is a composite account of eyewitness reports and video feeds taken from members of MTF Pi2. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were following a pod of minke whales. Begin log. 11.51. SCP-1522-1 curves around the bow of SCP-1522-2, before briefly accelerating to 80 knots, creating a large wave which splashes several minke whales and causes SCP-1522-2 to rock slightly. 11.54. SCP-1522-2 comes up to the port side of SCP-1522-1 and sounds its foghorn. They turn together in a southwesterly direction. 12.18. Both SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 come to a complete stop. No activity is registered from either ship for a period of 17 seconds. SCP-1522-1 then focuses its weather surveillance radar on SCP-1522-2 and sounds its foghorn 3 times in slow succession. 12.19. SCP-S- detects a RGM-84 Harpoon, inbound on a bearing of 340. Vector indicates SCP-1522-2 as target. 12.20. SCP-1522-2 sounds its foghorn 4 times and begins moving at 8 knots to touch its hull with that of SCP-1522-1. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 collide gently. SCP-S- detects a second RGM-84 Harpoon on a bearing of 340. 12.22. SCP-1522-1 moves and turns to a bearing of 340. SCP-1522-1 then accelerates to Mach 4, resulting in large plumes of steam and the creation of a bow wave of approximately 60 meters in height. SCP-1522-1 vanishes over the horizon in 23 seconds. 12.23. Harpoon missiles hit SCP-1522-2's starboard side. SCP-1522-2's hull is ruptured and it begins to sink. All lights on SCP-1522-2 go out. 12.26. SCP-1522-1 is seen returning from the direction it previously left. SCP-1522-1's foghorn is continually blaring. SCP-1522-1 tries to prevent SCP-1522-2 from taking on water by moving to SCP-1522-2's starboard side. 12.28. As SCP-1522-2 becomes completely submerged, numerous active sonar payings are detected, originating from SCP-1522-1. SCP-1522-1 begins a series of complex high-speed movements. Resultant subsurface lava patterns create multiple zones of high pressure below SCP-1522-2 in an apparent effort by SCP-1522-1 to cause SCP-1522-2 to resurface. 12.30. SCP-1522-2 is no longer visible from the surface. SCP-1522-1 ceases all activity. 16.00. An MH-65C Dolphin helicopter is launched from SCP-S- and approaches SCP-1522-1 for monitoring. No change in activity is reported. 19.36. SCP-1522-1 lets out a sustained call from its foghorn. SCP-S- sonar detects large rectangular masses detaching from SCP-1522-1, later found to be parts of SCP-1522-1's hull. SCP-1522-1 is fully submerged within 10 minutes. Closing statement. SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2 were to be raised and beached, in preparation to be taken for salvage at Site 6, Svalbard. Weather conditions caused salvage operations to be delayed for several months, resulting in the decayed condition seen above. The remains of a GOC ship of indeterminate class were discovered at 59 degrees 30 minutes N, 6 degrees 09 minutes W. No lifeboats were found. Addendum 1522-2. During the recovery and investigation of the vessels, two small partially formed apparently non-anomalous rowing boats were recovered from within the hull of SCP-1522-2. These vessels were extracted from SCP-1522-2 and are currently stored in situ at Site 6, Svalbard. Addendum 1522-3. Following the beaching of SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2, an unclear humanoid figure was spotted near the wrecks. However, no such figure was detained. The note below was found on the bridges of SCP-1522-1 and SCP-1522-2. They were happy, before the end. Not all ships have to pass in the night. Pandless.